here's a special treat. You see anything wrong with this picture here? Look closely. What's wrong with this picture? That's right. The cars are traveling in the opposite directions as they usually are. I had wanted to come on here at this intersection, but my original route was going to have taken me, I think, up that way, so I was going to miss it. But now, because of what Al did for me last night, I'm coming down this way. So this is called a diverging diamond intersection. And I'll see if I have a little animated thing I can put in here. But anyway, it's really interesting. So what happens is, traffic comes down the road in its regular directions, and then it comes to this intersection right here, and then look at this. It crosses over this way, goes on to the other side, while the other traffic on the other side of the interstate does the same thing over there, crosses over, comes back down, and then they diverge right here. Now you might think this is crazy, but there's actually a method to the madness, because what happens is, when you've seen interstates coming and intersecting with roads here, a lot of times either it'll be a clover leaf where the cars come off, they loop around and then come on and go onto the road, or they come off this way and then they hit a stoplight and they turn right or they turn left or whatever. So what the diverging diamond does is it flips the lanes of traffic so that there's not as many touch points as far as signals and turning movements and all that. So for instance, the cars that are coming here, if these guys want to go and get on the freeway, they're just going to make a right turn right off the road here and go onto the freeway. And if they want to go on to the other side of if they want to go the other direction, now they're flipped over and they can just make a left turn without crossing traffic. Same thing with these guys over here. These guys coming over, this is Sevierville, by the way, in that direction. These guys are going to turn right to go in that direction, or when they get over here, they're going to have turned left and get on the freeway right over there. So it cuts down on all the turning movements and the potentials for traffic accidents. And I think there's been a bunch of studies showing that they're really effective. Now they do take up a little bit more real estate. And the other thing, especially for pedestrians, is it's going to be tough trying to walk there. So I think what I need to do is just time that light down there, so that when these cars aren't coming, and I'll just kind of try and zip through there. But it's a diverging diamond intersection, and this is at I-40 and Tennessee Route 66, I think. Yeah, diverging diamond intersection. All right, I get to see it. Oh, such are little things in life, right? And I made it so far. Look out. Yeah, it's really, I think the first time you would drive one of these things would be kind of confusing. It's even kind of confusing walking it, but it's really a clever concept. So this is going into Sevierville. I've been calling it Sevierville, but I hear it's called Sevierville. And Pigeon Forge. Hey, I wanted you, remember earlier, I asked you what's famous about Pigeon Forge and who's from there? Well, actually, she's from Sevierville. That's where she grew up. Anyway, Dolly Parton. So Dolly Parton was born somewhere, and then she grew up here in Sevierville. And there's Dollywood there in Pigeon Forge. So we're in Dolly Parton country. Yes, sirree. You got a favorite Dolly Parton song? How about Coat of Many Colors? I think a lot of people would probably say 9 to 5 or one of the ones that she did with Kenny Rogers or something, but Coat of Many Colors, I think, is a nice song.
but I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors. My mama.
Well, a couple observations coming in here to Sevierville. It's been nice at this road just after that diverging diamond interchange. Has had sidewalk all the way, so that makes it nice. Of course, it's still noisy because it's a busy road. But the second thing is, in just 2 days' time, I'll be up there, and I think it's going to be kind of cold. It's supposed to be 28 down here on Friday night when I go up the mountain there. That's about 6,000 feet elevation, 5897, but who's counting? So 28 down here. I think it's about a 4,000 foot elevation gain. You take a lapse rate of 5 degrees per thousand, and maybe accounting for moisture in the air. Let's just say it's about 3 degrees. So that's 18, 28. I think I'm looking at a 10-degree night up there on Friday night. That's not cold, is it? So that'll be up in the Smoky Mountains there, up to a place called Mount Collins, and there's actually a trail shelter on the Appalachian Trail. I'll be on the Appalachian Trail for about a whole mile maybe. So that's one thing that'll be nice, is that if there's any wind up there, at least they'll be sort of protected. Looking forward to that, but looks like some rain tonight, so I gotta find shelter. Baseball dugout? Do I hear a baseball dugout calling me? Well, here's the French Broad River. Really interesting water patterns on here. You know, slow moving, probably regularly glassy river when there's no breeze, but just a slight enough breeze makes it kind of interesting. And it's still noisy here. Look at those clouds too. Pretty. Okay, Sevierville. I've heard two things now: Sevierville, and Sevierville. So take your pick. But this is the courthouse that we saw just a few minutes ago. And Sevierville was established in 1795. Sheriff's office for the county here. And prior to that, of course, were the Indians. The Cherokee eventually came in here like in the 1500s or so, but there was another band of Native Americans that came through here before that. But anyway, as settlers started coming in through here, it was peaceful relations with the Indians, but then as more and more settlers came in, the relations between the Indians and those coming through were starting to become hostile. The Indians eventually sided with the British during the Revolutionary War, and we know how that turned out, right? So after that, people kept pouring through, and Sevierville was growing in leaps and bounds, and then the Civil War came. What was interesting in this area, hey look, I wonder if there's some donuts in here. Oh no, those are bricks. What was interesting about this area during the Civil War is there was a lot of Union sympathizers and there were a lot of Confederate sympathizers, and so tensions were high in the area. And then during the war, the Union troops would come through and harass the Confederate people, and the Confederate troops would come through and harass the Union people. And then after the war, things settled down, but pretty much all the Confederate sympathizers were chased out. Things continued on, and then trade along the Broad River that we saw earlier. Flatboats would go down that and eventually make their way down to New Orleans. And then the railroad eventually came through here, tied the area to Knoxville, I think. And then there was also a road that was built through here from Asheville, North Carolina, down to Knoxville. Let's see here. In the late 1800s, there was a group called the Whitecaps, and they established themselves to rid the area of ill repute, so to speak. That could be anything and everything, including the ladies of the night. And so Sevierville continues through this day. And as you can see, they're doing a lot of really good work here in the old downtown area. So it's a pretty nice area. I decided to come here tonight because I won't be back this way tomorrow. And it's a blustery, it's almost a balmy night. 61, it's spitting rain a little bit. But it's pretty little downtown, and boy, that road sure is noisy. That's Road 66. And I just came with the intersection of 66 and 441, so it's like boom, 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 boom. So I hope you liked the little tour of Sevierville, however you want to pronounce it. And yeah, pretty nice. Oh, I've seen a lot of police cars today, just going up and down that road. So I guess that's the road where they must write all their tickets, huh? That's not a bad thing. And thank you for your service, sheriffs. All right, now we're gonna go eat Chinese food, and then I think I'm gonna go hang out at the park. I'm just gonna risk it. I'll probably just sit in the underneath the picnic shelter for a while until it gets really dark, and then slip my way over to the dugout. Looks like it's going to be a nice sunset here. Yep. All right. And speaking of sunsets, can you see that? Look at that. Those nice rays, huh? How about that? A nice ending to the day. Maybe that's a sign of no rain tonight. I gotta look at that some more. Yeah, look at that. Alright, got across. Didn't know if it was going to work out last night. I was sitting there in the park. It was all lit up. And sitting under one of the picnic shelters, just kind of waiting for things to settle down, people to go inside, all that sort of stuff. A couple police cars just came patrolling around. And one kind of stopped and I guess was trying to see what I was doing there. But I eventually made it over to the baseball diamond. It was wide open. It wasn't really, it was covered, but it was wide open. So I got through unscathed, but this is probably the sketchiest stealth camp I've had so far. It's the Sevierville City Park. And now it's on Gatlinburg today with a stop at, hey Mel, you listening? I'm going to your diner with a stop at Mel's Diner for breakfast. It's about 4 miles away. And then Gatlinburg's 14 miles, and where I'm going to stay there in Gatlinburg, I don't know. Find out today, and hopefully the forecast says is correct. Wow, look at that sky. Oh, camera's upside down. Hold on. Oh, no, it's not. All right, out to the busy road again. After I go to the diner here, I go up the mountain there to Gatlinburg. there's going to be a tunnel. Fortunately, there's a trail that goes around the tunnel, so I won't get run over. By the way, if you ever had to get a new muffler, or if you know anybody that did you ever wonder where the old mufflers go? That's right. They become art. They don't get recycled. They don't go to the landfill. Clever. Upside down buildings. Huh. What is that? The Titanic? Time warp. Oh, and over here the Opry. That would be the Smoky Mountain Opry. Helicopters, motels, tattoos, old-time photos. You want a trolley stop? This is Pigeon Forge. Pigeon Forge is in between Sevierville and Gatlinburg, and Pigeon Forge's early history is about typical of everything else around here. Indians, settlers, Civil War, things like that. But the thing that Pigeon Forge had going against it was that it didn't have any roads, any railroads, anything like that, so it was just a sleepy little community. And then the highway came through here, and it didn't really do a whole lot. And then Pigeon Forge decided that they wanted to develop this economically, and so they designated the whole strip here along, I think this is 441, it might be 321, I forget, tourist area. And hello there. So Pigeon Forge today, I guess you could say, is the playground of the Smokies. And the reason that Pigeon Forge was so successful in developing tourist stuff, even though it's on the other side of the mountains from Gatlinburg, and you'd think that Gatlinburg would be the gateway and the playground to the Smokies, but Gatlinburg, most of the land was owned by just a very few families, and they didn't want to have anything to do with all this economic development. They wanted to keep it quaint and quiet and historic and all that. So Pigeon Forge saw the opportunity, and so they developed this whole. It eventually developed. Oh, look at that, Hatfield and McCoy's. They eventually developed this whole strip as a tourist area. So yeah, it's been really interesting. It's almost been kind of like I don't know what you would describe it, a cross between Las Vegas and I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, miniature golf, outlet malls, hotels, motels, Hard Rock Cafe, Hatfields and McCoy's dinner feud. Look how big that place is too. So anyway, kind of interesting, this Pigeon Forge. I would say that if you want to come to play somewhere, come over here to Pigeon Forge, because there's a lot going on. Howdy. Good. Some guy out on the balcony in the motel smoking a cigarette for breakfast. Okay, so I'm just about the place where I'm going to eat here. Mel's Diner. Oh, and one more thing. Not only is there an upside down building that just kind of fell out of the sky, here's one that toppled over. Yeah, pretty crazy. Oh, and look at this. Looks like here was one last lone holdout house. It said, no way, I'm not going to sell. But now finally, they're on the way out. Looks kind of interesting over there. Hatfields and McCoys. Alright, so Mel's Diner. Typical little place for a diner, as a diner. So now, on to Gatlinburg. And some of that's going to be highway walking, so I think need to be careful and not get run over. And I think what I'm going to do here is take off my jacket. See that mountain up there? I think that's Mount Collins, where I'll be tomorrow. Huffing and puffing my way up the trail. 6,000 feet. Well, 5,900 elevation, so just about 6,000. And just like that, bam, it ends. It's like a straight line that separates all the stuff from the mountains. Kind of pretty. Just think what this would look like with all the trees, you know, in bloom. Yeah. It looks pretty right now too, but I'm sure it would be pretty with all the green trees. You know what I find amazing is that when you're walking on the highway like that, the highway is right up here behind me. But when you're walking on the highway like this, like that, I mean, it's real super noisy. But then on this little side road here that I'm having to take because there's a tunnel up here and I got to go on the trail that goes up and around the tunnel. But when you're just as close to the cars, but you're down a little bit, it's quiet. Huh. Amazing what just a few feet does, huh? Good morning. I got into Gatlinburg yesterday. And I had that tunnel I had to walk around, that trail. It had a bunch of sticker bushes, so it really snagged me. But anyway, this is Gatlinburg on a, doesn't look busy right now, but man, tons and tons and tons. This was all jammed with cars yesterday. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Its early history was just the same as a lot of these other communities. Settlers came in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and did their thing. And the town was named after a guy with the last name of Gatlin. And he didn't really get along too well with his neighbors, but they named the town after him anyway. The post office was named after him. Then in the during the Civil War, the town was filled with mostly Union sympathizers, a few Confederate sympathizers, but everybody tried to get along. The armies came through here, didn't really do much to the people, just came and did army stuff, you know, as they would do in war. After the war, the Union sympathizers basically ran the Confederate guys out of town, as well as that Gatlin guy. So he was no longer around. And then the community just kind of did its thing. It was a small community, and not much happening in the community until when the National Park, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, was developed. That first year, like 500,000 people came through Gatlinburg to visit the national park, and it just continued on since then. Most of the land around here is owned by 3 of the old-time families here. And what I was mentioning when I was down telling you about Pigeon Forge is that I guess I don't really know exactly what the thing was, but they weren't developing stuff around here like they did down in Pigeon Forge, but now you can see they truly are. This town is just like a big tourist thing, you know. And then they also do have a convention center here. But a couple of significant happenings. In 1992, there was a fire in Gatlinburg that destroyed quite a bit of the downtown area where the Ripley's Museum is. In fact, it was some faulty wiring that they determined that caused the fire. And so they rebuilt everything in there, in the downtown. And then in 2016, up here on the mountain, a couple of kids were doing something, playing with matches, whatever. They started a big, huge fire, and it didn't get down here into the downtown area, but it did scorch quite a bit of buildings along the fringe of Gatlinburg, and then kind of made its way down almost into Pigeon Forge. The kids didn't get convicted because they couldn't definitely prove that what they caused, what they started, would have come down here, because at that time also some 87-mile-an-hour winds were picking up. So I guess they got off because of a technicality. But you know, kids, don't play with matches and don't do stupid things. You know, there was a real big fire in Oregon a few years ago along the Pacific Crest Trail, and same thing, kids were playing with fireworks, and some hikers caught them, and those kids, I think, eventually did get convicted, and so they have a big hefty price tag over their head you know, for the rest of their lives, trying to pay off the damages that they were fined. But anyway, just don't play with fireworks and matches and things, and don't be stupid when you're in a forest, and especially when conditions are dry, huh? So anyway, Gatlinburg, and going up the mountain today. It's kind of cold. Well, you ready to go on a backcountry hike up there in the Smokies? You're in it. You're on it. This is the Husky Creek Trail. I got a 5-mile ride from town because it's about a 10.5-mile trail with a like I said, about a 4,000-foot climb, and if I had just gone from town, there's no way I would have made it in a day. And that's all the time that I allotted myself. So I'll probably get up to Mount Collins, depending how steep this thing is, close to sundown. Isn't that surprising, huh? So anyway, so far so good. It's pretty out here in the fall, and I can imagine that it would be pretty with all the leaves budding in the spring and summer as well. But the one thing, you know, about that is that you got all the trees with all the leaves, is that I bet you'd have a hard time seeing out along to the ridges and all that with all the foliage. So there's beauty in both ways, you know. I'm used to the wide open stuff from being out west, you know. The pine trees You got lots of openings between there, so you can see out to the ridges, the mountains, and the valleys. Sure, you got the thick forests here and there, but by and large, you got a little bit more ability to see out. And of course, out in the deserts too, I'm used to, where it's just wide open. But this is pretty as well. And it would be very pretty in the spring and summer too. All right, Husky Gap Trail here. And then I think in a couple miles I turn left and head up on the Sugarland Trail. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be my last day in Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee only lasted, what? What's today? Friday? Tennessee lasted only 7 days. 6 days, 7 days, something like that. 7 days. So, bye-bye prematurely for Tennessee. Thank you very much. Very pretty. And tomorrow, when I cross the ridge, I'll be in North Carolina. And that's when I'll meet up with Al again and take a day off there. And see, I meet up with him in Bryson City, take a day off, and then start on down towards Georgia. I think I'll have a total of 3 days in North Carolina, passing through Franklin, and then get into Georgia right around Dillard, and then down to Clayton, and from there, I don't know. I'll figure that part out. Oh, by the way, as well, I got a podcast coming up. I'm being interviewed for a podcast when I get into Georgia. To get more details, I'll let you know. And I'll put a link down in the description. Probably not in this video, but take a look in the description of this video, see if it's there. Otherwise, it'll probably be in the next video. Or maybe the next video after that, when everything gets published. All right. Yeah, that was a pleasant little climb. A couple miles. Now, trail junction. Husky Gap continues on down that way into a little river, which I hear is very pretty. And we're going up here. Look at that. Appalachian Trail. I think I'll be about a half mile short of the AT tonight, and then hook onto it tomorrow for about a mile, if that. So it's just like I was on the AT last year for about 3 miles, and this year I'll be on it for about a mile or a half mile. And last year, you know, I crossed the Pacific Crest Trail, I crossed the Continental Divide Trail. Well, I was on the Pacific Crest Trail for about a half mile, I was on the Continental Divide Trail for about a mile, and I was on the Appalachian Trail for about 3 miles. So I guess that makes me a Triple Crown hiker, right? Or, you know, if you call across America another crown, that's a Quadruple Crown. That's not how it works, huh? Okay. All right, so it's, I think it's about 10 o'clock. About 9 miles, as that says, or a little bit short of that. And I'm going to stop here and have a little bit more breakfast. Yes, I am. Do you hear that? You don't, do you? That's because there's nothing to hear. It's so very quiet out here. And in the quiet and solitude, that's where you get the deep reflection And I don't know, something very touching and moving. It's almost an emotional experience. Deep down, you almost want to, I don't know, you almost want to sob or cry. It's more than just the beauty. There's just something about the solitary wilderness. Listen. When you have times to reflect, what is it that you reflect upon? I tend to go down the path of innocence, reflecting on innocence, simplicity, and the love that folds around innocence and simplicity and quiet, the quiet of the soul. And also just reflect on those things, you know, that you don't know how to put words to them. They're just there. Kind of like the that scripture that the Spirit groans for us with inescapable understanding, something like that. And it comes back to, I've quoted this before, it comes back to that peace of soul and that quote from Augustine, my soul will not rest until it rests in thee. You know, I guess we can apply that not only to God, right? But in our human lives, I suppose we can apply that to those whom we love, right? You know, if you're apart from your spouse, if you're apart from your kids, you have that restlessness where you're saying you won't rest until you rest in the love of your family. And in the same vein, that's what our souls are saying about God. My soul will not rest till it rests in thee. Huh. Something else to reflect on, I guess. Little ants down there, huh? That's Highway 441 winding its way here through the Smokies. Those cars going to the left are going down towards into Gatlinburg, right there. And then beyond that, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, Interstate 40, and then all points beyond Kentucky, beyond that other ridge over there, Cumberland Gap. And for us, slow and steady wins the race. Had a bunch of downhill, it was nice, and a bunch of level, and now all of a sudden, up the ridge we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. No, it's over here somewhere. Get there about 4:30, I guess. All right, let's get a move on. Pretty up here. Well, this is the trail that keeps on giving and giving and giving. As you can see, it's getting dark almost. Got about another half hour before sun goes down. And I'm still a little bit away. But I guess that's okay if I have to night hike a little bit, which I won't have to, I'm sure. It's just about a full moon tonight. And anyway, nice trail, a pretty trail. And I've been taking my time. I guess I shouldn't have taken as much time of it as I've taken. Probably should have gotten an earlier start. Anyway, okay, concentrate. The last mile is the longest. It was a nice little shelter last night, and I stayed with two guys, Chris and Nick. Nice to meet you, former Marines. And then there was another couple out there, kind of new to this, but getting their feet wet, trying to figure out backpacking. And then another girl over here, her second trip out. So congratulations, you're going to like all that stuff. So now I'm trying to find out where I have to go. Let's see if you can see right here. Appalachian Trail. So I think this is the way I'm going to go. If not, I'll be wrong way Corrigan. Instead of going down to Bryson City, I'll be going back down Gatlinburg. Oops. Nice little trail though. Cold. Had some rain last night. I think even a little bit of hail. It's nice and sunny. All right, so this is a place called Collins Gap. Now this is looking out towards North Carolina, and this is looking out towards Tennessee. How about that? And speaking of North Carolina, I'm in North Carolina right now, and I think I'm going to have a total of, not counting the day I'll be taking off there at Al's place, I think I'm going to have a total of 2.5, maybe 3 days total in North Carolina. But it's another state that I can tick off, right? And then after that, Georgia, and then Florida. And you know something about Georgia, in my mind, it kind of feels it's like the home stretch, so to speak, when I get into Georgia. This Nolan Divide Trail is very pretty, and it's nice and quiet too. That could probably change because I'm at the top, and so if anyone's coming up from the bottom, I'll get them later today. But the one thing about this trail is that I completely misjudged my mileage today, or miscalculated it. I only calculated the mileage on the trail today that I was supposed to do, 11.6. But I had that 3.5 mile road walk, and then I had a 0.3 of a mile on the Appalachian Trail, and then I had the 0.3 of a mile to get to the Appalachian Trail. So 6, 3.5, 4.1. So 4.1 plus 11.6. 15.7 miles today instead of 11.6. So I got to hoof it a little bit to get down there to meet Al before dark. But I think I'll do it. This is all downhill, so just got to be careful and not trip. Watch my footing. North Carolina, you're pretty. Yes, you are. Well, here's another trail I was thinking of in my original planning of doing. The Benton Mackay Trail. That goes southwesterly towards Atlanta, and then it hooks up over to the Pinhoti Trail. It goes down through Alabama. And then from the Pinhoti Trail, there's a little bit of gap, and you can hook on to the western terminus of the Florida Trail. So interesting. Right here. Didn't know I was going to cross it. Some other day, huh? In the meantime, Deep Creek Campground on the Nolan Divide Trail, 7.8. What? Well, that says 7.9. That one over there says 7.8. Huh. Must be a time warp or something. Well, this is called Lonesome Pine Overlook. And what is it that you're looking at? Well, we're looking at the town of Bryson City, right down there, I believe. And if you can see if I can zoom in here, that valley is following that. That's on the way to Georgia, and I'll be following that in the next few days. Down and around and into Georgia. That's looking southwest. So it's been a nice trail today. It's been mostly downhill. It throws you for a loop a little bit. Sometimes you got some uphills going, but pretty countryside, that's for sure. Hello, Georgia. See you in a few days.
Okay.
All right, well, here I am at, where am I? I'm at Queen Branch, just right outside Bryson City. And Al, you saw Al. I got to stay at his house along with Dee and along with Dixie. Hello there. Okay. So thank you very much. It was a nice day off. And they just ran me out here right out past Bryson City, is right over there, right?
Yeah, right over there.
We just had breakfast in Franklin, and now I'm heading back to Franklin, and then probably try and make Clayton City tomorrow, and what do you know?
Yeah.
All right. And it's cold.
Yes.
Vaya con Dios.
Vaya con Dios. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So yeah, that was Al and Dee, and again, you know, I went up and over the mountains there in the Smokies the other day, and got down into Bryson City. Al met me at the bottom of the trail, and then took me to his house. Had a day off there with Al and Dee. Again, thank you very much. And then they brought me all the way back over here towards Bryson City. So where he picked me up was, I think it was on like the northeast side of Bryson City. And then it just brought me over here to the southwest side of Bryson City. And now I'm on my way back down to Franklin. And guess what? Tomorrow, I can't believe this. Tomorrow I'll be in Georgia. Georgia. Yeah, so Georgia's coming up tomorrow. I guess it feels like it's the home stretch, so to speak. Georgia and then Florida. I'll be in Georgia for about 4 weeks, maybe 4.5 weeks, and then Florida. And I think what I'm going to do here on this leg is I'm going to go through Dillard, is where I'm going to enter Georgia, and then Clayton's where I'm trying to get to tomorrow. And then I'm going to try and just make my way all the way down to Athens. That'll make it a 9-day leg, I think. Maybe 8 days. 9 days. 8 days, I don't know. And then take 2 days off in Athens. And then in Georgia, I think I found some dirt roads where I can have a good portion of the walk through Georgia on dirt roads. All right, Franklin, North Carolina, here we come. Here's an interesting sign, an interesting cabin. Bald Head Realty. You interested? I'm sure it's going for a good price. It looks like somebody here just had a meal. Nothing left. Was it good? Yeah. Okay, see ya. So that's not really what bears are like. In rare cases, maybe yes. And grizzlies, perhaps a little bit more likely, but still odds are low. But that was kind of funny. Don't know how well you can see this little mound-like outcropping. That's a it's called the Cherokee Mound. So this valley here, I'm walking along Highway 28 down into Franklin. This valley here was Cherokee land, and in this spot right over here where the mound is, that was their meeting place. So they had the mound, and then they built a structure on top of it, made to sort of blend in with the mound. They called it a Tsunalawasdiyi, which is actually their word today for church. But it was their meeting house where they had their councils and stuff. But on this part of the Little Tennessee River here, the Cherokee have purchased this land. So this is their land once again. And the little not Nature Conservancy, but the Wilderness Conservancy organization, I guess, acquired this land and made a little footpath here and some picnic areas, and people can come here and enjoy the river and look out on the Cherokee land there, right there. So I actually wasn't going to come through this section. I see that whoops, missed a turn. So nothing happens by chance. Got to see the Cherokee Mound, and now I get to cross over this little creek here. Don't fall in. And continue on to Franklin. I did call a church up here, see if they would let me stay in a classroom or a meeting room tonight. Because, like I said, it's going to be 24, 25, something like that. And then tomorrow it's going to be 16 in the night. So hopefully the church calls me back and says, yeah, come on in out of the cold. I'm stuck here. Otherwise, cold night in the baseball diamond. And I'm going through a place called Chowee, 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 and then Franklin. Well, change of plans for tonight. For the better, that is. The church that I contacted got back to me and said, nah, we don't have a place for you to sleep here. So then right after that, this guy stopped alongside the road here and he said, hey, are you hiking? I said, yeah. He said, well, I got a hostel in town, and I'm on the way to pick up another couple hikers off the Appalachian Trail, so if you want to stay at my hostel for 20 bucks tonight, you feel free to do so. So looks like I got a warm bunk tonight. So and that's good because it's getting colder. So it looks like I'll be at a place called Gooder Grove in Franklin, North Carolina. And there's a little Tennessee River. And look at that. Look at that sign somebody put up there. Can you read it? Repentance. I guess they're of the opinion that time's getting short as well. Well, here was a good deal. I was walking along the road into Franklin, and this guy stopped and said, hey, I've got a hostel you can stay at. So I finished my walk into Franklin, about a mile short, and he came back out and said, here, I'll take you the rest of the way. So Gooder Grove Hostel in Franklin, North Carolina. And it was really interesting to be able to experience other hikers who are here doing the Appalachian Trail. So it was a good change of pace. And so not only that, Wanderlust here is cooking his breakfast. Say hello there.
Hello, Wanderlost.
Wanderlost, yep, he's going down the AT. Along with Lady Slipper.
Hello.
So it was a good surprise, and it was nice meeting you guys, and I'm heading to Georgia.
Yeah, it was good to have you. Good
Yeah.
to meet you as well.
And congratulations on your through.
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations on continuing to hike and hiking across America.
Well, we'll see each other down the trail somewhere, right?
Always.
All right.
You don't let it go.
Okay. So I was mentioning Zen. There's Zen. Stayed
Hi
here.
everybody.
Yeah, so if you ever get to Franklin, North Carolina, look up Gooder Grove Hostel.
Yep.
They'll take care of
And
you.
retreat. It's not just meant for an AT hostel, it's meant as a retreat from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So come and see us.
Nice,
In the forest.
a lot of nice people. Franklin's a good spot too.
Yeah, it is. It's turned into one of the best trail towns on the AT. So, yep.
All right.
Everybody's welcome.
All right, thanks.